Hello, welcome to another episode of Talkin Rangers. Today is Monday, June 16th. This is episode 67 of the Talkin Rangers podcast. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Been a little while, been about a month. Last time we spoke, upload an episode was Mike Sullivan getting hired. Since then, Chris Kreider has gotten traded. We're in the middle of the Stanley Cup and getting closer and closer to free agency, the draft, and the entire offseason starting to unfold, although things started a little early here for the New York Rangers with the Kreider trade to Anaheim. We'll break that down, talk about kind of just the state of the roster, any other players that could be on the move here for the Rangers, look at some potential free agent additions, just what's next for the Rangers as they are kind of in this transition period of breaking up some aspects of this core, new coach, figuring out where to go after, missing the playoffs this past season. So, Joe, how's it going, man?
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened since we talked. I mean, well, not a lot, but like one big thing happened. I mean, obviously traded Kreider, so it's a pretty big thing for this organization. I mean, they love holding on to their players for as long as possible, but yeah, I mean, I guess just going right into it, like it's something that had to be done. I feel like it's like mixed feelings with him because he's a great Ranger.
Yeah,
was here for so many years, but at the same time, it felt like it was time for them to move on. He had a lot of gripes with the management, with the team. He wasn't happy what happened with even going back to with what's his name, Ramsey. I forgot what his first name is. Their old trainer. I think they kind of just ran him out of town. I don't think he was happy about that. And then obviously Gaudreau, he was not happy about the Trouba situation. It kind of all snowballed where, like I said, he wasn't happy with a lot what the management was doing. His play kind of tailed off. He was hurt. So kind of ended in not a great spot, but at the same time, he wasn't the only one who was bad last year. So you give him some sort of slack where it was like, it wasn't just him, but he was a great Ranger. So many great memories growing up watching him play. I mean, so it came up in 2012 in that playoff run where they lost to the Devils. Played well into the next season where he didn't get a lot of chances with Tortorella, but then he came up, played well in the playoffs in 2013. Then he really started breaking out in 14. Had a ton of like big goals, like the tying goals against like the Canadians in the 2004 playoffs or 2014, and then 2015 he got that big goal to force overtime in Game 5 against the Capitals, and then obviously last year he had that 3-goal natural hat trick against the Canadian or the Hurricane. So he's had a bunch of big time moments for the playoffs, and just in the regular season he's been just a consistent player. You know what you're going to get out of him. I mean, granted, maybe you could say he's a little disappointing as a player overall, just because with his physical speed and size, you thought he could have been like a top 5 forward in the league. Just because so much faster and stronger than people. It's very hard to have that kind of a combination of strength and speed. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, he was still a great player. I mean, yeah, again, I guess you could say he was a little disappointing. He never won a cup, but he was a great Ranger. Yeah, for the most part, he was really good off the ice, great with the fans, and yeah, it's sad to see him go. But like I said, it was time.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And you mentioned the Jim Ramsey stuff. That was kind of like the start of it. You've had all these coaching changes. Then you had the whole last year was kind of the breaking point, it felt like, with the whole Trouba stuff, then the trade memo, and it just a toxic culture and, him and management. There was a clear fracture and you had to move on. So I totally agree. It was definitely sad to see him go, just for both of us, pretty much our childhood Ranger, Chris Kreider, one of the one of the top Rangers of our childhood.
He
So
was there
always
for 14 years.
Yeah, disappointing to see him go since he's since coming up in 2012 and 2012-2013 season. But it is something that it's the business. It's something that had to be done. He had a clear drop off last year in play, plus everything that was going on behind the scenes. You needed to restructure this core a bit, and that's one of the ways to do that was moving on from Kreider. But yeah, I mean, you went down just some of the list of some of his top moments. He'll have number 20 in the rafters one day when all is said and done, at MSG. And just looking at some of these other numbers, have him here in front of me, 326 goals. That's third in Rangers history. He's tied, or he's first in playoff goals in Rangers history with 48. 116 power play goals is tied for first. Second in game winning goals with 50. 13 shorthanded goals is fourth. His 582 career points is 10th in Rangers history. 76 playoff points is third. He's eighth in games played. First in playoff games played as a Ranger. And he also had 16 goals in 30 elimination games. So, I mean, a lot. I mean, top 10, top 5 in many areas there. An all-time Ranger. Again, someone that'll, number 20 will be retired here when all is said and done. So, great Ranger, but it had to be done. Rangers save here, or the Ducks rather take on the $6.5 million. So Rangers up to $14.9 million now, about in cap space. The other parts of this deal, they also get a 2025 third round pick and Carey Terrence, and then the Ducks also get a 2025 fourth on top of Kreider for this year's draft. I guess just the prospect wise in the return of this trade, kind of did some little bit of research on him. Played with the Erie Otters in the OHL. Pretty good size at 6'1", 190. Had 39 points with the Otters this year. And it was on Team USA for the IIHF World Championships. He had 2 goals. So any other thoughts on the prospect that they got in return? Little bit of research kind of on him there, just what he's done in the last year or so. And he'll head into Hartford and really just a developmental piece. Maybe you get something out of him down the road. Who knows? We'll see. Developing prospects has not been the strength of the Rangers, so I doubt he turns in anything. But it's
what he kind of reminds me of? I don't. Maybe I just saw a couple clips of him. Kind of reminds me of Kreider.
Yeah,
he's not like he seems like a pretty big dude. Looks like he's fast.
Yeah, good size.
Have, like, great hands, but it looks like he has a little bit better hands than Kreider did.
Yeah.
Did you think that like they were going to get more, or like you think that's about what you thought they were going to get? I mean, he kind of wanted out. He did have another year left on his contract, so like they would have had to take 2 years instead of just like 1 year.
Yeah, and I agree, and I just think he's on the downward part of his career. I think at this point, I think he's removed from the 70-point seasons that he's had. I know he's only 1 year removed from 75
he still
points.
Score 30 goals, I think, but
yeah, he could, but last year was just so disappointing. I mean, the Ducks are practically Rangers West now. It's ridiculous the amount of former Rangers that they have over there.
We had a Rangers South a couple years ago, and now it's Rangers West.
Now it's Rangers West. You got Kreider.
There was actually 2 South teams. There was a point where there was a ton of Hurricanes that were Rangers.
Yeah,
and obviously before that, the Lightning were like crazy built with Rangers.
That was former Rangers.
You figured the way they started winning was they got
Ranger
rid of all
captain
those
territory too. Tampa.
They got rid of all those Ranger players. The Lightning. I mean, they kept what's his face, McDonough, then they brought him back, but
get rid of the Rangers, win Stanley Cups.
Maybe you got to bring in the Rangers players, realize how bad they are, and then you win the Stanley Cup.
So the Ducks will go back to back in like 2 years,
3 straight, like 3 straight finals, back to back cups.
Yeah, but I think you get a pick prospect. I think it's about what they expected. Again, I think it's more so just moving on, getting the money off the books, and breaking up this core a bit. And then finding other, you have to a lot of other areas too. This team has to improve in. So,
what would you say is the next like domino to fall
from a trade perspective?
From like anything,
or just like signing,
trading. Like, what would you say they do next?
I mean, my hope would be the next domino would be moving on from Mika. But I don't think that's going to happen. But that would be what I would do. I would move on from Mika next. Try and get him to move as no trade. But we've heard multiple reports. I guess we can kind of dive into that too. Right, with Mika, we heard Arthur Staple the other day, of course, covers Rangers Islanders, say that there's been some, at least he feels reportedly has been some conversations between Mika and the Rangers on moving on, agreeing to move on. And then earlier today, you saw a New York Post article with his wife in an interview about just New York and staying here. And there seems to be no plans on leaving. So kind of mixed reports. which is a lot this time of year. It's just all these different sources. You really don't know what's true, what's not true. Again, we'll find out here in shortly once free agency begins and things like that start to pick up. But you got to move on from Mika. I feel like that's the next big move. If you really want to shake up this core, that's the next move, right?
I mean, if they can, he could be like stubborn. I mean, people on Twitter or online just saying like, "Oh well, he can't get moved. He's got the no move." Well, even if he says publicly that he doesn't want to get moved, privately, you could easily just tell him, "Yeah, I want to be moved."
Yeah.
I don't think publicly he's going to come out and request a trade. So they can move him. It's possible. Does he want to move? I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, it would kind of just come to a point like with Trouba and Kreider where the Rangers publicly kind of say like, "Hey, we want to move on," and it seems like the Rangers have more power in their hand than people think, because I feel like the Rangers come out publicly and kind of say like, "Hey, we want to move on. We're looking for trades." I don't really think Zibanejad is going to want to stay here. I think that kind of just, especially when all of his core guys that he played here for most of the years are leaving or getting traded. I think that's kind of a motivator to leave. I don't see why he would want to stay if the team kind of starts declining. So you can kind of get that to push him out to wait no move, but I don't know. I don't really see him staying here longer than his contract. I think there will be a trade. I don't think he gets traded this offseason. I think just because his contract's still pretty long. And I think maybe he wants to stay one more year to see what happens. But I'm with you. He's got to get out of here. I mean, I listen, we'll here, offer right now stands with us. We will drive him to the airport, wherever he's going. Yeah. We will drive him to Newark Airport or JFK.
Yep. Wherever he needs to go.
I'll pay for the plane ticket.
Honestly, if he doesn't want to take a plane, we drive him. If they trade him west,
I will drive him to. If they trade him to the Kings,
we'll drive him to the West Coast.
If they trade him to like the Canucks or like the Flames, we will drive him to Alberta,
get through the Canadian border, Columbia. Get over,
get him out of here.
Yep, yeah, that sounds like a good deal. Yeah, they've got to move on. I'm just so sick of. First of all, he hasn't played well. Yeah. Second of all, just so sick of his attitude, the effort, the even just the post-game interviews, just like always whining and never taking accountability, and always I'm so tired of the speaking so softly too.
Yes, yeah, I know
does that. That just like annoys me. It's like stand up, be a man, and like he's like always hiding, and it's just I don't know. It just gives off a bad vibe in my opinion. It'd be one thing if he's going out there and playing well and doing all that. But
he's also the softest player in the league.
Oh, he's so soft.
Like I think he'd be the last player in the league to drop his
How many times was there a couple scrums last year where he'd just be on the outside watching?
Or like the guy just beats the shit out of him and he's just letting him.
He doesn't do anything. And that's what this team needs to get away from is the softness, and they need to become more physical. They need to be, we've talked about all of that, right? They need more of your forechecking, the JT Millers, Vincent Trocheks of the world, those type of players with that type of attitude, and less of your Mikas, even your Panarins who are lazy, don't back check, aren't physical, get beat up. When the ice shrinks and you're facing physical teams, their finesse moves just don't work, because when we've seen that with Panarin too in the playoffs, who I'm sure we can get to as well, and that's why this team hasn't won anything with this group. So yeah, I agree. It's got to be Mika. Now, in terms of a move that I think actually will happen, it'd probably be K'Andre Miller. Will probably, if I had to predict, they would move on from him. And I think that does happen. And, they have a lot of work to do from a defensive perspective. But what are your thoughts, too, on just the K'Andre Miller stuff as well? I mean, Larry Brooks of the New York Post revealed that he feels he's played his last game. He wrote an article a couple days ago about that. I would tend to agree as well, and I would be on board with it because I don't get it too. And we've seen this on Twitter, some of the posts that you've made. Like, people love K'Andre Miller too. It's ridiculous. Dude, like, I don't get it. I think it's just I don't understand. You can go.
Dude, last season, the two players that we were most critical of, K'Andre Miller and Zibanejad. There must have been like a 3-week span where we just talked about how bad they were. Like, I don't know why people.
It was every episode.
Yeah, I mean, because people consistently are defending them. I mean, they're saying, oh, well, he's young. Well, he's been in the league for 5 years. Like I said before, how many players have struggled for 5 years? and turn it around with the same team. He needs to change the scenery, both teams. Kind of the same thing with Kako, even though I liked Kako and I didn't want to trade him. The change the scenery will help Miller. But he's soft. He's not good defensively. He's a stupid player. He does not know how to – he doesn't see the ice well as a defenseman. I think he should play forward, but that's never going to happen. He's fast. He's tall. He's got all this athleticism in these physical traits, but he doesn't use any of them. He's so bad in the defensive zone in the corners. There's so many times where he's in the corner, he gets caught, and someone's open in front of the net. He just makes so many mistakes, and he doesn't produce anything offensively. You're not getting anything out of him. He's like average offensively, average defensively, and you're just going to pay him because he might be good, because he's fast. Well, he's not. He's a good skater, but not with the puck. How much does that really help you for like a defenseman, you know?
And it feels like he's gotten worse. And I think that's the most alarming part of it all is I feel like a couple years ago, even just as early as I would say last year, he was like okay. I would say,
and then you can't blame Trouba now anymore too. Really bad.
Yeah, those days are over. But even 2022, 2023 season when they lost to the Devils.
Wait, and he was terrible in the Panther series.
Yes,
remember one of the games where on the penalty kill, he tried taking the puck out twice and it got turned over and they scored twice.
Yeah.
So sorry, continue. I just remember.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. He's regressed, and that's the most alarming part. I would say 2022, 2023 season, the Devils' first round season. He had 43 points that year. That was his best offensive season. Since then, he's consistently regressed offensively, and most importantly, defensively as well. We've talked about with Keandre Miller a lot. Sometimes, and again, like everything that he does, I guess, defensively or struggles with offensively is what the Rangers need to move on from. And that's like struggling against teams with speed. We talk about it all the time with teams like the Devils and those type of teams with speed through the neutral zone against the rush.
He can't defend speed or physicality.
Yeah.
So.
No, exactly. And I think sometimes you just watch him. I think he tries to I don't know. He just relies on his natural athleticism to kind of just take over.
Length. If he
exactly.
gets caught at the blue line, okay, I'm going to try to reach out with my length and get it. And if he doesn't, he's screwed. Or tries to catch up to a guy, but the guy kind of bounces into him and he's scared to take contact.
Yeah, and he doesn't he's not very good with the puck either.
No, he's terrible with the puck. Oh, he's horrible with it. He'll never be a good offensive player.
No. But even just getting out of the zone, like you mentioned in the Florida series, when he has the puck in his hand, he panics.
Oh, he's so bad at breaking the puck out too. So bad.
No, it's awful. And then that leads to the long possessions in your own zone. You wear Igor down. It's just a mess. I don't understand. And maybe it's because he's 25 years old and he's still young, but he's gotten worse. It'd be one thing if he was awful the first 3 years of his career, and in the last 2 years he's turned it on. It's been the opposite. He was getting better, and now he's getting worse. I'd move on in a heartbeat. I mean, him and Trouba, you mentioned it. The whole Trouba excuse is over with because he still stunk without him. Let him be somebody else's problem.
I don't know.
You cannot bring him back.
I'm optimistic that will be a move that probably be the next big move to make. I mean,
that's what I agree.
I mean, I don't know if we talked about this. Maybe we talked about off air where we were kind of thinking that Panarin most likely will be moved at the deadline.
If anything, deadline, yeah.
I think he'll start the season with the team, see how it goes. I don't really want them to resign him just because of his age and his playing style isn't great, but I guess that's a conversation for another time because at this point, I think there's only 3 players safe on the team right now. It's Panarin for now, Fox, and Shesterkin. I think Cooley too. I think they're going to sign Cooley. The only thing that I think could happen with Cooley is that he might get offer sheeted and the Rangers might not match. But I think besides that, everyone could be traded. I'm thinking maybe Lafreniere might get moved, and I wouldn't be opposed to that because I've had enough of him too. I mean, okay,
another player that was supposed to take.
I keep saying this. I said the only thing that could be a good thing where, him back checking, being more physical, being less lazy, is the new coach. But I mean, this is his 4th coach.
Yeah,
he had Quinn, he had Gallant, he had Laviolette. Now he's going to have Sullivan. So it's
and Quinn
again. Yeah. I don't see that changing. I mean, I think it's more of a player thing than a coaching thing. I'd probably move on from him. They jumped the gun, like we said last year. They paid him, and then
They
he
jumped the
went
gun on so
ghost.
much last year.
He went ghost.
Yeah.
Did nothing. What do you have, like 40 points last year? 45 points?
Yeah, 45 points. What did you get? The extension in December, right?
No, he got the extension
Or
like
was
a
it?
week into the season. It was like October.
It was quicker.
Yeah, it was
I
in
thought it was
October.
during December.
It was because I remember it was like right before Game 1 of the Yankees World Series game, and I was on my phone. I was like, "Oh shit, the Yankee or the Rangers extended Lafreniere."
Interesting. I thought it was later because he got off to a good start last year, and then he went silent in December when the team fell apart. He only had 4 points that meant.
He had
Remember he went through that
17 goals,
stretch.
28 assists, 45 points, minus
Yeah,
13.
he went through that stretch last year from I remember late December to early January, like that stretch where they were just awful. And he had to have gone 9 or 12 or somewhere around that, like 11, 12 games without a
It
point.
was okay. I got it. October 25th.
October 25th was the extension.
Lafreniere is a 7-year deal, 7.45 a year.
Yeah, and then he went silent.
Ghost.
I mean, he had some stretches last year. He was just
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean,
I think he went like 20
February.
games without a goal.
Yeah, February, and I know it was the shortened month because of the Four Nations, but he only had 2 points. He was awful.
It's not even the goal scoring for me; it's the effort.
Yeah, there was no back
Like
checking.
if you're not going to back check, if you're not going to play hard defense, then
What
get
was
off
the
the
game
ice.
where he completely gave up on the play? I mean, there was probably a couple games,
What
but I
was
remember
the
vividly it
Avalanche
was a close game, and he just gave up.
It might have been the Avalanche game
Might have been.
where they blew that game, or they had the
Yeah, it might
power
have
play.
been.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
been a couple. There was one where it was like twice in one game.
Yeah, there was a couple. I think. I think there was. Maybe it was that game too. Remember when they had that? It was like late in the season. Remember they were starting to come back. Against. Maybe it wasn't that game. Might have just been the Avalanche game that I'm thinking of. But remember there was that Capitals game like late in the year where they started to play well and they faced the Capitals. I think Ovi scored like 885 or something that game. They lost in overtime. You remember that was like that big game. They had shut out the Islanders, and I don't know. They shut out their previous two teams like 8-0 or whatever. They started to play well. That was like a big game for wild card. I thought there might have been a play in that game where he just gave up. And they lost, but because the Capitals scored, the Rangers were up 2-1, and they scored in the third, and I think it was
the Rangers were up going into third.
Yeah. But I thought I remember there was a play in that game where he just gave up on a play or whatever. But either there was a lot of cases. And two, just like another player that he had 57 points the year before. He was looking good. Could have had more points. Was snake bitten a lot of times. Another guy that regressed. You know, it's just so sick and tired of these players, these young players regressing. And even in Lafreniere's case, is number 1 overall pick, and we're still just inconsistent.
I mean, just look at it. I mean, since they send out the letter, they might be. It's like the Jets. They draft a quarterback in the first round, and then a couple years later, they draft another one. The rebuilds are going to be very close to being redraft. Anderson, bust. Hedel, I wouldn't say bust, but I mean, he's not on the team anymore. Had a bunch of concussion problems. Might be out of the league, so kind of a bust, even though he was a good player. Mm-hmm. Then you have Kreider, bust. Miller, I'm going to say he's a bust. He's not good. I mean, well, again, kind of like Hedel, where I actually like Hedel. He had concussion problems. Miller has not been good. I mean, he's been an NHL player, mid-first round pick. I guess it's a good pick, but he hasn't been great. So they haven't really hit on these guys to like good players. I mean, Lundqvist, they traded him. He's barely on the team. That he's like he barely. I think he got hurt when he was on the Stars this year. But again, he's on the team. Then Kakko, kind of a bust for the 2nd overall pick. Lafreniere, bust.
Very much
first
bust.
Overall pick. Othman, I think he's going to be a bust. He's not a great skater.
He hasn't scored.
Yeah. Oh, Schneider, I forgot in the other draft. Third pair defenseman. I mean, he doesn't get any playing time to really develop anyway. So as a third pair guy, so I don't really think he's that great either. I know the Rangers love him, but I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, just
and we've
consistently.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
they're good.
we've gone through some of these draft classes for the Rangers.
So bad.
It's just so bad. Even going
Who
back
knows? Who
to
even knows if Perot will be good? Probably not. Let's be honest. He'll probably suck.
yeah, but even going back to the Lyles Anderson, the Kraftstoff,
They had a couple good drafts in the
so
early
many drafts.
2010s, though. They drafted like
Yeah,
Miller, Kreider, Shea, Stahl.
those it's the what is it? The 2015 what was that? The 2015 Ranger team. The only one left is Miller, and
Yeah,
even he left and came back, so he's not even like original. He left and came
all of them
back.
have left now. Yeah,
Yeah,
most of those guys are retired though.
yeah. But no, their drafting's been so bad, and you can only help but think if those picks pan out where this team's at.
Just imagine if Kako and Lafreniere turned into generation. Imagine if we got generational
Yeah.
players back to back years. This team would be a dynasty.
Yeah.
I was thinking that
And then
in
tried to
20,
cover it up.
Dude, in 21, 22, when we kind of first broke in and we're a good team, I'm thinking, holy shit, this team's going to be
Yeah.
insane. They had Lundqvist still, who looked okay in his first couple games. They ended up trading him, but then they brought in Schneider, who looked good, Miller, Lafreniere, Kako, Hedel. It's like, holy crap. Kreitzov was still like a promising prospect.
Yep.
What happened? Oh my God.
Cooley's been one of the only good picks. And he was
he wasn't a first round
60th
pick.
overall.
Yeah.
He was second round. Yeah.
He was an early second round. He was an early pick.
Yeah. And then you obviously had Berard and Rempe, I believe, in that same 2020 draft, obviously later. So if anything, they've hit on more of their later picks than their early picks. Not that Rempe and Berard
to hit if you're gonna use more of a like, is this guy worth where he was picked? Then then I would say those guys are all hits because you take a guy in the sixth round, you're not expecting him to ever really make the NHL.
No.
So
even Edstrom.
Edstrom's
was sixth round too, I think.
Good. Yeah, they've done a good job getting kind of like role third, fourth line players.
And that's the problem.
But the problem is
that
they haven't been able to get top end talent.
No, they haven't taken these young top picks and turned them into stars, turn them into franchise cornerstones, and you're not going to win with great. Edstrom's a good role player on the fourth line, but Rempe's Rempe. He's like you're not going to win with Rempe being
your first line player.
Yeah, first line player essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. They got a lot of
Rempe being like a highlight of the team, I should
say. And
say.
from what I heard is that the Emery guy is not developing too great. The guy way too early, but like I didn't hear great stuff about him in his first year of college. So he'll join, fit right in with the Ranger prospects.
But just like Keandre Miller, jump in and just be a bust.
I mean, and like who knows how good Perot will be. I mean, he looked okay, but at the same time, he's not a great skater. You can tell that right, and that's something you can't get better at.
Yeah,
you can marginally get better as a skater, where a little bit better in your edges, just more confidence wise, skating more. But like at the core of being a skater, you are what you are. You can't if you're not a great skater, you'll never be a good skater.
And the thing with Perot is.
He probably won't play power play. He'll probably play fourth line. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I was just about to say. They got to give him the playing time. Like Perot's not going to be anybody if they do what they did last year.
Mika should be the only guy on the power play. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
he take the face off, set up his like one timer to himself,
set up his hit it on the board. Yeah, and then just set up his own one timer because the one timer works so well on the power play.
I wonder when's the last time he scored on that. It's got to be years.
He doesn't even hit the net anymore.
He struggles. I mean, maybe you should try not hitting the net.
Maybe
that would work.
My biggest thing with Pro is I'm hoping he puts on a little bit more size this offseason, which he said he was going to do. Become a NHL size, like more, put on more NHL size. I don't know. We've gotten to the point with all these guys. It's just a wait and see game.
It's like the Jets, where we're just expecting all of them to suck.
Expecting them to suck and pleasantly surprised if they work out.
It's the opposite. It's like innocent till proven guilty in the sense of where it's like you suck
proven guilty until innocent.
Yeah, right? You suck until like we're not giving you any give him like
proven guilty until innocent.
He hasn't done anything yet. No, this guy sucks, and if he doesn't do anything, or if he doesn't show me anything, I'm just gonna still say he sucks.
Yeah.
There's
Guilty
no
until
like,
proven.
there's no like leeway with these prospects. Like,
No.
my thing is, you suck. Show me if you're good or not. I'm not gonna be
Yep.
like, hey, he's got promise, he's got upside. Let me give him some breaks, some upside, some time to develop. No.
Yeah, like you're not going to
He's
go
just
into
gonna
this.
you're a bust until you're not.
Yeah, you're not going to go into the season with the Rangers looking at this roster and say, "Oh, Gabe Pro's going to have a breakout year." Like, automatically count on him having a huge season for this Rangers team. You know,
He's a Rangers prospect, so there's a good chance he sucks.
Yeah, very good chance.
Who was the last
Right.
Rangers prospect to play more than like 7 seasons with the team besides Kreider?
I mean,
I don't even know. I just said that right now. I have no idea.
Lafreniere, if he plays 2 more years.
He's going to year 6, so yeah. I don't even know. Like, I guess like Shesterkin.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of thinking more of like the guys drafted in the first round. So
Yeah.
like, when's the last time we had a first round pick play 7 seasons with the team?
Been a while. I mean, what, Shea was 6, right? No, 5, because he got traded halfway
Shea
through 2019.
came into the league, I think, the year they lost to the Senators. I think that was his first year. And then he got traded. Did he get traded in the bubble?
He got traded the COVID year. Yeah.
When they played in the bubble?
When the season got paused, yeah.
He was on the team that they lost to, right? He was on the Hurricanes that beat him?
Yes, the qualifying round.
So
it was 5 years.
No, maybe that's less. Let's see, 17, 18, 19.
I thought he was in the Penguin series.
He might only play with the Rangers for like 3 or 4 years.
I thought he was in the Penguin series when they lost in the first round the year before.
He was for that. Okay, maybe you're right. He might have been. Yeah, you're right. He played for the Rangers 5 years. You're right. 15, 16,
well,
16,
technically
17, 18.
Because he got traded. So not even a full 5, actually.
So like 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
okay.
No. Yeah.
So, but not 7. Not even 6. I mean, who's the last
more
guy?
Years.
I mean, well, I guess like JT Miller might qualify for that now.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't.
But I guess you mean 7 years consistent
after getting drafted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Miller
was
came
what, 6?
Let's see what Miller is. Right, Miller came in when they won, or when they went to the Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's played like 5 years for the Rangers,
and he got traded halfway through.
Okay, he played 6 years to begin his Rangers career. So okay, I'm looking for 7 because this would be a 7. He's played 6.5 years with the Rangers, 6 consecutively. Or no, not 6 consecutively because he got traded in the middle of the.
He got traded 2018.
So he's played 5.5 years consecutively with the Rangers. So he hasn't even played 6 because he's played 7 years.
And technically, if we're counting 6 in a row, he's got a long ways to go. Or 7 in a row, he's got technically 6.5 more years to go.
Yeah, who is the last New York Rangers player? Yeah, to play 7 seasons in a row.
It'd be
beginning
Kreider.
With the Rangers. Maybe McDonough. I don't even know if he played 7 years.
Could be.
He probably would be the same thing. No, I'm going to say McDonough probably was the last one. But McDonough wasn't drafted by the Rangers. No. McDonough was drafted by the Canadians. So that, I don't know, Stahl. It's got to be Stahl. It's definitely Stahl. 1,000% Stahl. Was the last.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because even Buchnevich was 5 years?
Buchnevich was also second.
He was a
round
second
pick
round
or a third round pick.
Third, I think, actually.
The pick that they got him for was acquired in the Rick Nash trade. Fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
So they got that was a good trade.
Buchnevich and Duclair were in the same draft, weren't they? I think.
Yeah, that was a good draft the Rangers had.
Yeah.
Stahl played 13 consecutive seasons with the Rangers.
So it'd be him and Kreider, or Kreider then him.
And he was drafted 12th overall. So yeah.
Yeah. That's sad.
He was good though. I like Mark Stahl.
He was very good. It's just sad that.
But he had injuries. But yeah.
That's how long it was.
I mean, you get what you get what you get. You get what you can get. I mean, he was an elite player, but at the same time, he was consistent. He played every.
Oh no, yeah, he was yeah. It's just that was what 2005.
Not drafted in the first round.
2005. That was 20 years ago now.
Kind of going off that, it seems like they're going to keep the pick, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're going to give it up.
Seems like it.
So what is it? 12? Is that where
pick.
they're picking?
Yep.
They dropped 2 spots, right?
Yeah.
Like they have the 10th odds, or do they have 11th odds?
I think it was maybe it was
Oh no,
11.
okay, no, I think they had the 11th best odds,
I
and
think
they
it was
dropped 1
11.
spot. I think the I was about to say the Jazz, the
Yeah, because I
Mammoth. I
think they
think
moved.
the Mammoth moved up, but I don't think the Mammoth were behind the Rangers.
I think the Rangers moved up to 10, and then they moved up back to 11 or back to 12.
Are you sure? Let me check. The Rangers moved back 1 spot. Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm saying like during the lottery, there was a
the
point where they
Islanders were
moved
ahead
up
of the
to,
Rangers. The Islanders were 10th odds.
yeah, and then a miracle.
The Rangers didn't drop back. They dropped back to 1 spot because of the Mammoth.
Yeah. Thoughts on the name?
I don't like the name, but
I feel like I'm
whatever.
just gonna call them Utah. It's gonna take me a while.
When I think Utah, I just say Jazz in my head every time, just because that's been the only Utah team.
Yeah.
I think the logo. I don't know if you play a lot of Ishil. It kind of looks like an Ishil logo.
Mm-hmm.
Very Ishil.
It's just that type of name in general. Mammoth.
Seems like an Ishil team too. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Mammoth. Seems like a
And they're
team I
not-
created in like GM mode
Yeah.
with the logo
Rebuild.
and the name.
As long as yeah, I mean the Mammoth can't win one before us.
What do you think? Over under 20 years?
For the Rangers next cup,
Yeah.
I think under. That's an
Will
optimistic
they win
approach,
one
right?
in the 2020s?
No.
Will they go to the playoffs again in the 2020s?
Yeah.
Will they go to a
Definitely.
finals in the 2020s?
Maybe. I mean, like hypothetically, okay, let's just say this. Best case scenario, Perot 2 years from now turns into like a stud.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's say
EJ Emery is a Norris Trophy winner.
yeah, EJ Emery's like elite. Adam Fox is, still
Adam Fox gets like a leg transplant and like gets like
he's
a
not hurt.
fucking his legs just start working again.
Yeah. And Shesterkin's still playing at like a high level. But at that point, is Sullivan even still the coach? All right, how about this? Over under.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, here, give the number.
What
I'll tell
is
you
it?
what I think.
2025. So how many seasons we have left until we hit 2030? 4
6,
years?
right?
6? Maybe it is 6. Geez, I'm off.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying 30, 31 or 29, 30?
30, 31.
That's 6. Yeah.
6. All right. 3 coaches. Over under 3.
I'm gonna take the under because I think they're just gonna ride out with Sullivan. There's no way.
I'm gonna say 2.
Did Sullivan last more than 2 years? I think.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that one too.
How many years did Quinn? Was he 3?
Yeah.
He took over in.
It was 3-2-2
in 18-19. So 18-19, 19-20, and then 20-21.
Yeah, the COVID year, and
So
then
he had 3 years. Gallant was 2 years. Laviolette was 2 years. Will he set the Rangers record for coach consecutive years coaching since Elaine Vigneault?
Yeah,
I think Vigneault coached 4 years.
5. So. Or was it 4?
He came in when they went to the finals, then left.
Yeah,
he
left.
He left in 17-18.
Yeah. So yeah, 5, I think.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
Yeah, because that last year they missed the playoffs. That was the JT Miller trade. That was the letter. I think
Sullivan's got to last more than 2 years. There's no way this team does. No way.
It's funny. It's just on the topic since we've been bringing up the Jets. The Giants, they're keeping Dable, right? The Giants just got to a point, I think, where they had
no
Shermer
too,
Judge.
coaches.
Yeah, there's no point in firing a guy. Like, give Dable one more chance. Just you can't keep changing underwear or keep changing coaches like you change underwear. I would say that I don't know though, because let's just say Sullivan sucks this year, or not Sullivan. Let's say the Rangers suck this year, or miss the playoffs, and they miss the playoffs next year. There's no way they bring him and Drury back. Wouldn't at that point they just blow it up again?
That's the only thing is whenever Drury goes, I assume.
Yeah, whenever Drury goes, and Drury, you could make the case. Well, Drury should be gone now.
They did just extend him, so
they did, but
you never know.
They did fire Thibodeau. And who knows if that was Dolan?
That's true.
It could get to a point where they're just like, no, we're not firing another guy 2 years in. I'm gonna say though, 2 coaches between now and 30, 31. Sullivan will be here maybe 3 years. Then there will be like another coach for maybe 2, 3. Maybe he's the answer. I don't know. Maybe Sullivan gets this. Maybe Sullivan gets this team up the ground and gets them playing harder, more physical, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then maybe they bring in the next young hot shot coach, whoever that is, and they get to them to the promised land.
I don't know, dude. We're in such a bad,
Like they
people
get
are
pro
what
develop all that stuff, and then he's
these
in his
Ranger
prime.
these Ranger fans just don't know. Like they think this team is nowhere close to being a
No,
contender. They're like, oh,
we
we were
just
just
watched
there
the
last
Stanley
year.
Cup
Well,
final and tell
that
me
was
that the Rangers would
that's
ever
the
compete.
end of whatever they had. They got
Yeah.
lucky to get that far in those 2 seasons. They got worked by the Devils after blowing that series.
Yeah,
Dude, they're not even on the same. Like they're
that
closer.
really should.
The Rangers are closer to an AHL team than they are to the Florida Panthers.
They're kind of stuck in mediocrity.
The Panthers are so much better than the Rangers.
Oh, they are miles
So
better.
much better. Physically, speed, skill,
Coaching.
maybe goaltending too. Yeah, coaching.
And we both like the Sullivan hire, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done with this team. It's funny. A lot of Rangers fans, they think you're
Well,
just going to
listen.
flip
Well,
the
okay.
switch from
I'll
last
say
year.
this. Maybe we get the coaching bump. This team makes the playoffs in the first year,
Yeah.
but they have no chance. I mean, let's be
Well, I
honest.
mean,
They're not
hey,
winning a 7-game series. With the Panthers. They're not beating the Lightning. They're not going to beat the Devils. They're not going to beat the Hurricanes. Maybe they can beat the Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could be a team like
the
the
Canadians.
Maple Leafs. Maybe. I don't know. I don't see them beating any of these teams. I mean, the Rangers are going to struggle.
Maple Leafs are kind of hitting a weird transition themselves
They
too.
might make the wild card. I mean, I don't see them being better than any of the teams in the Metro that made the playoffs this year. And then I think they're worse than the Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Flyers can make. Who knows? Maybe the Flyers take a step up. I think the Penguins are going to be terrible, so you don't have to worry about them. But I mean, the other 6 teams.
You don't believe in Dan Moose?
No, he was a good coach. I don't think he was bad, but I just think the core is just so old.
Yeah, and they're not even. This is it for Malkin too. The report came out.
I think
They
they're
won't
trade Crosby at the deadline.
Yeah, Moose is kind of that like transition coach, try and develop.
It's a Muse.
And then he'll probably be out of there.
Come on.
Muse.
Dan Muse.
What? Damn Muse. He'll be there for what, 3 years? All right. Who will be there longer? Muse or Sullivan?
Moose or Sullivan?
Meaning like Sullivan with the Rangers.
Dan Moose.
Yeah, Moose.
Dan Muse or Sullivan? I'd probably say Muse. Just because I think
he's longer history than Sullivan with the Rangers.
I mean, he's a transition coach. Like he won't be there in a couple of years, but I think Sullivan will probably go out the door with Drury once like Dolan
starts focusing on the Rangers.
Yeah.
Once the Nick starts sucking again, he's like, "Oh, let me get my hands on the Rangers."
But like, dude, like realistically, like I could see an argument maybe for the Islanders, but the other 5 teams besides the Penguins, I don't think they're remotely better than.
Yeah.
You
make a point.
But the Islanders have the first overall pick, so it's like
if we're going off of history here, the last couple years, the Rangers should make the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
I guess 3
new coach bump.
2. I say 3 is like more than a trend, and it happened 2 times in a row. You think it's going to happen 3 times in a row?
Well, I'm just saying because
the problem with this team is that like
it's not going to happen.
The one team is up and coming. The other team had some progress where they made the playoffs back-to-back years, so you had still a core in place. This team doesn't really have anything. It's just kind of a point where it's old. I don't see anything you could hang your hat on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Where are you getting the goals from this year? I mean, Kreider is not on the team anymore. Zibanejad probably will, what are we thinking? 2 months without scoring a 5-on-5 goal this year? 3 months?
Something like that.
It'll be about. He'll go through huge stretches where he sucks. He doesn't even have streaks anymore. Where he's like, it's bad. Like we don't have any Mika months anymore.
Mika March is over.
Panarin is probably going to start regressing, so you'll get what you get out of him. Maybe he still is a point a game player, but again, I think he's going to start regressing. And then I guess we'll see what you get out of Lafreniere, Trocheck, and Miller. Am I hopeful that Miller will be a point-a-game player this year? Yeah, but at the same time, He just has some injury problems. We'll see what happens with that. You got to hope Trocheck bounces back. You got to hope Lafreniere bounces back. But, I mean, at the middle to back end of their offensive lineup, they don't have any scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense sucks. I mean, whew. Fox is not good defensively anymore just because of his speed. But, again, he could bounce back. I'm not going to say any more, but, like, at the moment, I'm really concerned about that. But he's still hopefully going to come back to the elite defenseman. But besides him, I mean, what do you have? You bring back Miller, he's not good. Borgen's okay. It's like a third pair defenseman, but they're going to play him in the top 4.
They like him.
Vakanainen, I wasn't really a fan of that. Like, they signed him. He's your second pair left defenseman.
They like Borgen, though.
You have Susie, you can't skate. I mean, geez, he's horrible. They got to somehow get rid of that guy. And then you have Schneider, who could be good, but doesn't get a lot of playing time he gets a lot of playing time because he's a defenseman, but like he's not playing top 4 minutes, top pair minutes. Yeah. So you don't really know what he could fully be. I mean, he doesn't play power play. Obviously, he's not great offensively, but I mean, he's also always stuck with the worst possible defenseman on their team. So you got to give him some of a break where, like, has Schneider not played with a terrible, like, when's the last time? Well, the Rangers haven't had great left shot defensemen, but he's always playing with, like, Patrick Nemeth. He's playing with, like, Justin Braun. I mean, like, I guess Gustafsson was solid for his partner. I guess Mikko was pretty good with him, but I just think that the defensive core on the left side is atrocious. And, I mean, the mid-level scoring is just not there. The top-end scoring isn't there either, besides Panarin. No. I don't see how this team can – I can see them maybe sneaking into the playoffs if Igor has a great season, but, I mean, like, this team's nowhere near the Stanley Cup. I don't know.
No.
I mean, maybe we're delusional. This team's going to go and win the Stanley Cup next year.
I love that.
I'll eat my words.
I mean, if anything, I think you're looking at what we looked at this year, and that is
we'll think what we'll probably think what, like, going into this year, we're thinking, okay, we could get back to where we're at. Like, going into our last year, going to this year, I think what they did this year is going to happen. Like, that's my expectation.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, and like, even if they get in, you're kind of, remember we were talking about it this year. Like, if they get in, they're probably losing the first round next year. Like you mentioned,
they don't even have their first round pick. So
that's probably what you're looking at this year.
I guess I don't really care what happens, because, like, if you're bad, you don't have your pick. So it better be good. They better be good, because if you don't have your first round pick and somehow the Penguins get, like, the first overall pick with your pick, I mean,
that would happen. That'd be,
heads are going to have to turn for that. I mean, I don't know. You have anything, like, what are some of your, like, I guess kind of stemming off Ranger players? Like, are there any kind of guys you're, like, that could be, I mean, they don't have a ton of cap. I know they have cap now, but, like, free agency and trade, like, who are the guys that you think that will probably go after? I've been hearing some about, like, Peterka.
Yeah.
I don't know.
From
Do you think that happens?
I could see that. It seems like there's some sort of fracture over there, doesn't it? Between
the organization as a whole, or just, like, with JJ Peterka?
No, just with Peterka. It feels like, I don't know. I was reading a report the other day that I don't know. There's something about him wanting to move on. I'm not sure. He feels.
I think that is going to be the route if they do make something.
A trade, yeah.
I don't think they're going to sign anyone. I mean, there's not really anyone. I mean, they'll probably do the same bullshit they do always. They'll probably sign some shitty seventh defenseman. They'll sign some guy. They'll sign some fourth liner they put in the third line.
I could see them going after maybe Dumoulin, just because he does have a connection to Sullivan. But
they're not going to. I mean, the Rangers, I tweeted this out a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago. I don't remember. It was like they haven't signed anyone over $6 million since Panarin. So
yeah.
And there's really no one that is worth signing. Even if they did have the cap space, like, I would never throw money at, like, I'd throw money at Bennett, but he's going to make way too much money. I would never.
They're not going to do Bennett.
I would never pay Marner. That would be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some guy in the trade market that we don't know is there, and they make a big splash. Maybe they get, like, Jason Robertson. I'd be happy if they got him, but they would have to give.
Would you go after, like, a Michael Granlund?
He's going to want too much money, though.
You think?
Yeah.
What is he probably?
He's going to want $6+ million.
You think?
Yeah.
He was what, $5 million? I think. Yeah,
$5
million.
Pretty good this year. I think it was, like, close to, like, 70-point player this year. I think he was up there.
So I saw the other day there was this site
I
that
think he had like a
projects
monster season with San Jose.
uh what this year? Yeah.
Was he not
I
with
mean he
San
was
Jose and then he got traded
and
to
he got
Dallas?
dealt to Dallas. Um
Because I know he was with the Wild, and then they traded him for
no, he was
someone
with San Jose this year, but he
like
had
Fiala
45
or
points,
something.
52 games.
He has,
He had a good
he has
year.
66 points this year, which
Yeah.
is not like crazy, but like I'm thinking he's still gonna want he's gonna want. I'm telling
I
you,
saw
like
a projection the other day for like 2 for 4.2, 4.9, or 4.9 over 2,
he's gonna want.
4.9
I think he's gonna
AAV.
want over 6 million. So and the Rangers can't
Yeah,
afford that.
because he was 5 million AAV this year. Um, yeah, I think they'll do the Sam Carrick route, like that type of
They'll get
players.
someone like, oh well, this guy can play on the third line, and then
And we'll hear they've been looking at him for a while.
oh yeah, this guy's been on our. We wanted to draft this
Yeah.
guy actually.
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
know. I mean, I don't
I'd be
like.
okay with Paterka.
I'm trying to think though. Like, I don't even know. I mean, like I said, like they're probably like they're gonna bring in some like third, fourth line player, probably a fourth line player that's playing third line that shouldn't be.
Hmm.
They'll bring in some like scrub defensemen that
Yeah.
like a Chad Ruedel. And
Yep.
then who knows? I don't know what they're gonna do as far as the young guys. Like, I, I think this Terrence guy, he has to give him the chance to make the team. He was drafted
Yeah.
in 2023, so he'd been 2 years removed from his draft class. So you got to think that maybe he has a chance to make the team. Like Berard, Rempe,
Hmm.
maybe Adam Sikora, former
Yeah.
second round pick. Maybe he has a chance. Like we'll see what they kind of go with. Like I would be okay if they don't sign anyone and try to unload a couple players and just go full youth. I'd be happy with that. But at the same time, I don't think they will. Chris Drury needs to win, so they won't do that. So a lot of these young guys probably won't make the team. It's going to be a disaster. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a disaster. Now I'm just thinking about this in my head. Drury needs to win. He's not. He's going to make sure that they get old veterans. He's going to sign.
Yeah.
He's going to go maybe more down like the Blake Wheeler route and sign some like old scrub that's like not good anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. They're not going to go down the route that should be, which offloading old guys, offloading old contracts or long contracts that aren't great, and then playing your young guys and seeing what they are like. They're not going to do that, and it's going to be a never-ending cycle until they fire everyone. Where it's like we got to win, so all these young guys are going to take a
And
backseat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the way, and again, I like the Sullivan hire, but I think the way they hired the coach, bringing in a veteran, kind of proves that winning mindset, or in terms
Exactly,
of trying to go all in
but all
again.
these young kids are gonna not be good.
Yeah.
Their development's gonna be stunted. They're not gonna develop great with the Rangers, and then they're gonna either get traded or just turn into not great players on this team. And then when you have to rebuild, you're gonna be like, why don't we have any young players? Well, because you didn't play
Yeah.
any of them.
Yeah.
We're throwing up Blake Wheeler on the first line when we were playing
He was horrible.
Kako, or we should have been playing Hedel or Lafreniere.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. Well, Hedel was hurt. Lafreniere was playing on the first line with Panarin, but Kako, you know,
Yeah. No, I mean, if they pick a lane and go with
they're
it,
gonna try to win with a team that can't win. That's gonna set
yeah.
back the team like 5 years at least.
I mean, they tried to do that almost the last 2 years.
I mean,
Even the way
I'm telling you right now,
they approach the deadline,
they're
and
gonna do that. They're gonna try to win, and it's gonna fall flat in their face because they don't
yeah,
have the players to win. And
and
then
their
you
big
don't.
move will be Kreider. That'll be their big move that they
Oh, we
label.
shook it up. We shook it up. We
Yeah, we
traded
shook it
Kreider.
up. We moved Kreider.
Why aren't we winning? We traded Kreider.
Yeah.
I don't know. They waited too long on Offman. That was stupid. And it looks like he can't fucking play. He's just not a good skater. They wait too long on these prospects. They wait too long
Mhm.
to give him playing time. Lafreniere, I sound like a broken record. Lafreniere should have been on the first line day one, on the first power play day one. Let him play that. Let him grow with that instead of benching him, putting him on the fourth line, putting him on the third
Yeah.
line. Like they waited too long on these. The Rangers are irritatingly annoying when it comes to trying to develop players. It's just they're stupid. It's a New York market, so they think they have to win. They're never gonna. The Rangers are never gonna be good. That's
No.
that's my takeaway. Is that they're just gonna continuously try to win with mediocre players and not give the young guys chances to develop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's they're in
They're in limbo.
yeah, and they've also kind of gone. I don't know. They've gotten to a point too where it's just now they're going to get into that mindset of like just fighting their way just to get into the playoffs. And if you get into the playoffs, like that's okay.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
let's get first round exited by the
it's just
Hurricanes.
they're going to turn into just kind of that just get in.
We're gonna be like the Islanders.
Yep.
Although the
First
Islanders
round
had those
exit.
2 good runs.
Yeah.
Asterisks though. COVID bubble and then like the 4 division season.
I just don't know how people can watch that last year's Rangers team and think it's going to get fixed in one off season when it's the same man in charge that created last year's team. Like
It's
I
not
don't
even
know.
that. They just like everyone just kind of thinks, oh, the players are just gonna go back to playing good again. It's like, well,
Yeah, but it's
they
also
weren't
just
playing
like
great. Even besides Panarin, I mean, was who was really playing great in the year they won the President's Trophy? I think they were playing solid. It's
had
a
a good
solid
year.
team.
Trocheck regressed last year.
Yeah, I'm not concerned. I think I'm giving him another year. I think that
Yeah.
we got it. We got him another year. He was very good that year. Lafreniere, I'm getting concerned about. Where like, is he even a second line player?
Yeah.
You can't teach effort too. You can't develop effort. You either have it or you don't. If he's going to be a player like that, he won't last. I mean, well, he will last 7 years because he's signed for 7 more years. But
That's a lot of players on this team with the lack of effort.
you're not going to hold players accountable, then it's just going to go crazy. I mean, that's what happened last year. It's like Zibanejad, Panarin. Panarin wasn't playing bad, but he wasn't giving effort, wasn't back checking, and then the whole team sees that. Like kind of what Kako said, where like in that interview before he got traded, where it was like, yeah, like feels like the older guys can get away with whatever, and they're kind of this team doesn't give like the young guys a chance. Like they always blame the young guys, which is 100% true. So I don't know.
Yep.
It's just it's going to be hopefully an entertaining offseason. Knowing the Rangers though, like they'll draft some like
They'll
random
underwhelm us.
European. We'll draft some like random European 12th overall, and like I said, we'll sign like a 7th-pair defenseman or 7th D-man, 1 or 2 like 4th-liners that they try to convince us that could play the top 9, like 3rd line, and they won't make any other trades, and they'll just re-sign Miller and Cooley. But I want them to re-sign Cooley, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Cooley's one of the only guys that gets it.
Chris Drury missed his chance. He should have went out and got Gensel, and he didn't. That was.
And that's what I was saying. It just goes back to that deadline.
Should have went out. I maybe got scared off because of Tarasenko and Kane, but at the same time, like Jake Gensel in the prime of his career.
Yeah, Kane and Tarasenko are near in the end. Gensel's in his prime, and then you don't want to move Kakko. Then you move Kakko a year later for a bag of donuts. Not even donuts.
I still don't like the Kakko's a player that could be a very effective player on a Stanley Cup winning team. Just because he's good defensively, he's gritty. He's not going to score a bunch of goals, but he's going to play good defense and he's going to forecheck. And that's the thing too. Like they don't take that. The Rangers don't care about having guys that can forecheck. I mean, forechecking is not only just to score goals, but it's to wear down the defenseman, to get puck control. It's like there's more than that. It's people don't value great forechecking as much as they do like goal scoring. I think that is just as important to like wear down your opponent. You got to have guys that are going to go and forecheck and cycle and being able to constantly bang bodies in the corner, get those guys tired, get those guys banged up, and then your elite guys can go out there and then score on those. But the Rangers don't have anyone that can forecheck really that gets consistent playing time. I mean, because besides the 4th line, I mean, this team couldn't forecheck for shit.
Other than Miller.
He's out there by himself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really effective when you have one guy in the forecheck.
Nope. One guy that cares. Most of them didn't even care around Miller. I mean, even he's always talking, trying to figure things out, and you'd have Mika just staring at him with a blank stare. Like,
yeah, Mika's doing like the 1,000-yard stare. What's that thing? You know what I'm talking about? Like the 1,000-yard stare. Just like, puzzled.
Anyway, that'll do it. We'll be back soon here. Another episode.
The draft what's in the draft? Thursday? Next Thursday? Not this Thursday. I think it's next Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's next week. Yeah, June 27th. Actually, Friday.
That's first day of the draft, Friday. Oh yeah, Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday. It's not the NFL. I get confused sometimes.
So we'll be back, talk a little draft, dive into a little bit more on just free agents and trade possibilities as well.
Who do you have winning Stanley Cup?
I think the Panthers are gonna win.
Panthers close it down 6.
Yeah. I think the Oilers. Nah. Yeah. Close out in 6.
I agree. I think the Panthers win tomorrow.
Yeah. Oilers had their shot at home to take a 3-2 lead, and they didn't. So, anyway, we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.